Barry Baggley, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. I usually start the podcast that way, but this time I really mean it. How are you?
I'm not doing too bad, obviously. The last few months have been a bit frustrating for myself, but I've just tried to stay positive and I'm feeling good at the minute.
Excellent. I think I won't be the only one to say that that's good news. I think everyone, the talk and everyone, despite the fact that the team is doing so well on the pitch, the constant thing is, when is Barry going to be back? So if you don't mind, I'd like to start that way, because I think that's what everyone is going to be tuning in for. You said you're feeling good, that's great. Can you talk us through the injury? Because when it came out first that you got injured on international duty, everyone was kind of going, well, he's took a knock and he'll be back in 2 weeks. What were you told initially when the injury happened?
Well, when it first happened, it wasn't just like a one moment where it just came on to me. It was like I was feeling it for a few weeks, and it was just, the more I was playing, the worse it was getting. Mm-hmm. And then obviously against Dundalk, that was the game where it got so bad where I just couldn't continue. And originally when I first got it done, I was the same. I thought I was only going to be out for 2 or 3 weeks, and then so I went back to Fleetwood, obviously, to get a scan and stuff. And then they told me that 6 to 8 weeks I should be able to get back running and stuff. Yeah. So that was the original timeline for me.
So am I right in saying it wasn't just one knock or injury or one incident that caused it? Was it a build up over time?
Yeah, that's what it is. It was a stress reaction in my lower back, so that's kind of caused by overplaying and changing different types of surfaces, types of training and stuff. So that was the main cause.
And that's what I was going to say. Like you mentioned Dundalk there, obviously the first thing that comes into your head is a red flag, the artificial pitch. And listen, I'm not only just saying this to get a reaction or anything like that. Do you think maybe that was an aggravation of it, maybe the pitch?
Yeah, it could have been. They're well known for being like hard surfaces, mm-hmm. But I wouldn't just solely blame it on AstroTurf pitches. Like, it could have been anything. You really don't know what it could have been at the end of the day.
I heard, and I'd love to know if it's true, were you in a body cast for a while? Yeah,
so the first couple of weeks I had to wear a brace just to minimise my movement in my back, so mm-hmm. it could kind of speed up the recovery process.
Like it's mad, like from something that you hear, you might be out for 2 weeks to wearing a full body brace. It's mad the way injuries can just catch up on you like that.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's like anything can happen. Like, you just have to whenever you do get injured, you just take it with a pinch of salt, like, and try and get back as quick as you can.
Is there a time frame? I know we're going into the mid-season break, and when this is out, we'll be in the middle of the mid-season break. Would you even put a number on it, weeks or?
Well, I think I'm due to get another scan at the start of July, and it kind of all depends on what comes back in the scan.
Yeah.
If it comes back clear, then I should be able to kick on then. But
brilliant.
They're not going to let me go back too early then if they see something that they don't like, mm-hmm. because this is a type of injury where it can easily come back as quick as it goes away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's a testament to yourself, as I mentioned just as we started. The team's been doing so well on the pitch, and still people are clamouring for your return. So I think you can take that as a massive compliment.
Oh yeah, it is a massive compliment. It's great to hear people like asking for you when you're coming back and stuff. It shows that I've got a real support here, and long may it continue.
We'll get into all that, a little bit later on. I'd like to take you back now to, I suppose, growing up. You're from Belfast?
Belfast, yeah.
What was it like growing up in Belfast?
It was good. I wouldn't had it any other way. Mm-hmm. I love growing up in Belfast. We used to just be out in the streets every single day, kicking the ball. And
I was going to say, when did your football life start? Were you one of those kids who was just kicking ball from minute one?
I was probably from when I could start walking was when my football journey started. Any chance I could, I always had a ball at my feet, and I was either kicking it in the house or going out in the street off the walls and everywhere. And
at what point did it look like that you were going to be able to do this as a career? Was it evident from early childhood?
I wouldn't say from an early childhood. It was probably always one of the, amongst your mates, you were probably one of the best players, usually. Yeah. But you never think you're going to go on to have a career or anything. You're just kind of enjoying it at that time, and probably later on down the lane, then you start thinking about having a career in football.
Did you play any other sports? We spoke to Paul Jammond at the very first episode, and he's able to play every sport in the world, and he's the best at it.
Yeah.
Were you one of them kids?
I was alright at most things.
Yeah.
I was good Gaelic footballer. Like I
Right.
loved playing Gaelic football. I was really good at that actually. But I got to a stage where I had to stop playing because.
And that's the question. Did it come down to, you're obviously a really strong Gaelic player? There's some really strong Gaelic teams that have come from north of the country. Did it come down to, Barry, you've got to make a choice here?
It did, yeah, because there was a stage when you're getting to about 15 or 16 where you're near enough training with football or playing games every single night, and you don't really have the time to play Gaelic football, so you either have to choose one or the other.
Yeah. What age were you when you first joined Glentoran?
I was signed for them when I was 10,
Wow.
so I was young, yeah.
So at 10 you signed for him, and then you're kind of at 10 you're kind of going, well, maybe you weren't. Were you thinking like, okay, I'm 10 now, I'm signing for this big club, and maybe this will be my job?
Not even then. It's obviously when you're signed for them and thought like, oh, it's a big club. You
Yeah.
know, going from just playing for my local club, like going to an Irish Premier League club, one of the biggest in the country. It was a great step up for me then, but even then I didn't imagine like I would ever go on to have a career.
You're only 10 when you signed for him, and you spent, am I right in saying you spent 6 years there?
6 years, yeah.
So like that's, your heart is probably there.
Yeah, I loved every minute playing for them. It was really good.
I suppose for the younger listener to this, or watcher, viewer, what does it look like when you're coming up through the age groups at a high level team like that? Like from a 10-year-old to a 16-year-old?
So when you're young, it's just about playing. Like you're just, there wasn't much difference between going from my local club to them. Probably just better like coaches and better training sessions. But it wasn't like a massive change in the amount of training and stuff you were doing at that age.
Are you still allowed to play for your local club side if you're signed for someone like Glentoran?
No, so that would be your main team.
That's your main team.
Yeah.
And who you're playing against other like top side? Do you do international tournaments? Because I was flying over to a Liverpool game there during the year. I think it was the Sheffield United game midweek, and we met a crowd of school kids from, I think, Crumlin United in Dublin, and they were going over to play against Everton. And like, was that what it was like?
Yeah, there was loads. We went on loads of tournaments with Glentoran, like internationally. We went to like Barcelona, Germany, Paris, and you're playing against some big teams there.
That must have been hugely exciting.
Yeah, it was unreal. Like,
Did you meet anyone on the way up who we would know now, maybe?
Did I play with?
Yeah, did you play, not necessarily with Glentoran, but in the tournaments? You know, you said you played Barcelona and all that. Like, were any...
Yeah, so we played Barcelona, like Pedri and stuff was playing then.
Really,
for
yeah?
them, yeah.
My God. When you were that age, say you're playing for Glentoran and football is probably your life, who were your footballing heroes growing up?
My main hero was Stevie G. Like,
Oh, yes.
yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan obviously, but used to watch him growing up, and that's probably the reason why I'm a midfielder myself.
I was going to say, a midfielder growing up watching Steven Gerrard. I mean, look, listen, I think there's a lot of slagging goes on around football, a lot of banter. I can't get into that. I think a good footballer is a good footballer, and I think like Steven Gerrard, you know, carried, like, I'm a Liverpool fan obviously, you know, he carried a club on his back for years, you know. There's not much. Have you ever had a chance to meet him or anything like that?
I never had a chance to meet him, but I've got a signed shirt from him. So
Did you?
Yeah.
I was sitting front row at a game against Wolves in the FA Cup, and Wolves are still in the Championship, and he was doing punditry for BT Sport, and I was, I think, probably 31 or 32 at the time, and stuck my hand out and got a high five off him.
he wasn't.
Yeah, I went back to being 8 years of age, even though I was 32 years of age. Unbelievable. So look, you get to 16 maybe when you
16,
left.
yeah.
So when did it look like you were going to go cross channel? Like what I know obviously it was when you were 16, but like, what does the initial approach look like? Were there other teams in for you? All that kind of stuff.
So around the time that I went to Fleetwood, I'd been on trial with a few other teams in England. And then I went on, they were actually the last club I went on trial to. So usually when you're going from here to England, you would usually join the team in July for the start of their pre-season.
Sure.
But I hadn't signed for anyone then, and I only went on trial in July to Fleetwood.
Oh, okay.
So after the first 2 weeks, they didn't make a decision yet, so they said, I want you to come back for another 2 weeks. And that was in August. But I'd already had my stuff planned already to go back to school and stuff, so I didn't realise like I was going to move then.
Right.
And then after the end of that 2 weeks, they offered me a contract, and then I ended up going.
Must have been an amazing feeling.
Oh, it was the best feeling ever. Like that's all I ever wanted to do since I was a young kid.
Of course, and you're looking at down the barrel of turning 17 and starting another year in school and probably wondering what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, at the end of this trial, there's a contract put in front of you.
Yeah, it was a mad experience. As I say, like I seen all my mates moving away, the people I played with growing up, they were all moving away a couple of months before.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself, oh, like I might not get the chance now.
So some of your pals were already signing with teams in England?
Yeah, most of them already did, yeah. So they would have moved over at the start of that July.
Right.
But they would have had their contracts already signed a few months before that.
So were you, I don't mean this in any bad way or anything, was there, because it's all worked out, but like, was there a panic?
It wasn't really a panic, it was more just a bit disappointed.
Right.
That I didn't get away at that time, but luckily enough, it wasn't too long before we did move away.
Were any of the lads you're friends with, or are they anyone who's still out there, still playing, or would anyone we might know?
Yeah, so there's still one of them at Fleetwood. He plays most weeks for them, Carl Johnson.
Yes, of course.
He moved over together, me and him.
Yeah.
And we grew up playing together. We lived 5 minutes from each other.
So I mean, yeah, I wanted to bring that up. So you've done that well for me. Like, what's a lot of people move to England alone.
Yep.
when they're coming over from Ireland and stuff like that. And I've spoken to many lads over the years, both in this kind of a capacity and just in conversational, and they've talked about how lonely it was, how hard it was. They either settled in or they could never settle in. Must have been a hell of a lot easier moving over with one of your buddies.
It was so much easier for me. We had Carl and we had another lad called Dylan Boyle.
Mm-hmm.
And all three of us were in the same age group, all the way up, playing in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, we all went to Fleetwood at the same time. So having two boys there that you already knew makes it so much easier. And
I'm always fascinated with people who went over at such a young age as well, because when I was 17, I was probably drinking cans in a field, and that was the highlight of my life. But you're going over to England to become a professional footballer, so you almost have to grow up overnight.
Yeah.
Does it feel that way?
It did, yeah. It felt like I grew up very quickly, like after I moved over, because before I moved over, I was a proper mum's boy. Like,
well, yeah.
She used to do everything for me, but after I moved away, she obviously couldn't. So I had to kind of learn everything that you probably would expect to learn maybe a few years later.
Did you end up moving in with Carol, or what way did it work?
Yeah, so the way we had it in Fleetwood was, it was actually good. It was like a digs, but it was, so Fleetwood owned like a B&B in Blackpool.
Yeah.
And you have your own, like, it's kind of just like hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And you have your own bedroom and your own like ensuite bathroom and stuff. And there's like a family who look after you during the week.
Lovely.
And the weekends, they cook your food and clean everything, and so it's good that way.
My earliest childhood memory is going to Blackpool on holidays and staying in B&Bs. What's it like around Blackpool? Did you go to the amusement park that's there or anything like that?
Yeah, we've done everything.
I love that.
It's a bit of a mad place.
Yeah,
like.
I love Blackpool, and I love the pleasure beach.
Yeah.
Wait, are you a roller coaster man?
I don't like roller coasters.
No,
nah.
Because I don't know if people are probably going, what's he even asking this for? Blackpool at one point in time had the highest roller coaster in the world.
Yeah.
Not in the UK, not in Europe, in the world. The big one.
The Pepsi Max,
The Pepsi Max big one. Have you been on it?
I haven't been on it, no.
Oh, man. Honestly. I went over last summer.
Yeah.
I went to Liverpool for the weekend, and myself and herself went to Blackpool just to go on the big one.
Yeah.
So that's where my life is at anyway. But you are over in Fleetwood. You're living your dream basically. Your pal is with you. At what point do you start breaking into the first team over there?
It was actually really quick. It was within the first year I was signed.
Mm-hmm. And they're playing in League One at the time.
The League One, yeah, they were doing actually quite well. So the first 6 months for me was, I was with the under-18s for the first 6 months up until just after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one day that they had a game. The under-18s had a game, but I wasn't playing that day. I was just coming back from an injury.
Mm-hmm.
And the Fleetwood first team needed a couple of players to train with them. So I was one of them. Obviously went up and trained, and I done well in that session. And then that was kind of where I first got seen with the first team.
So like it's a great life lesson, I think, in there. Like, you're out with an injury, you're probably frustrated, you're not playing the game with the under-18s, but another opportunity opens up. You train with the first team, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a breakthrough.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a good analogy at looking at maybe taking a negative, turning it into a positive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, just have to always think about the positives, like the way I'm doing now at the minute.
Exactly. Talk about this goal that you scored against Bolton. Like, I don't know if some people will be familiar with it, but some people won't. But you scored pretty, like this goal. I watched it earlier on, and it was on TV and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you take it around. Talk us through the goal first of all. It was in a League One.
So it was in League One, but it was on the final day of the season.
That's right.
And we were in the relegation zone.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of had to win to stay up, or else if the team below us didn't win, we would have stayed up anyway, regardless. But we were obviously going into the game thinking, we had to win the game. So
it was in the Reebok Stadium which
Stadium
is a very impressive stadium.
It's a big stadium, massive crowd as well. And I think it was about 15 or 20 minutes into the game. The ball got played out wide to the winger, and first he hit it into me first time. And I think it came into me that quickly where I didn't even have time to think. Mm-hmm. It just happened like instinct, because I seen a defender coming towards me and it just touched it round him. Yeah. And then I ran and I thought, I might as well had a shot here, and then just curled it in the top corner.
I really just dinked it over the keeper. It was actually a really Stevie G type goal.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that, because when I watched it myself, that's what I thought. Like, one touch around the player, bang, lipped over the keeper into the top corner. But the best part of it for me was your dad's reaction to the goal kind of went viral a little bit as well. Basically what happens is, well, no, talk us through it, because I said, how did your dad even know? How were they filming at the time?
Yeah, so basically they were watching it on, there's a channel called iFollow. It's basically like the LY TV here for like League One and stuff in England. Mm-hmm. So they had it on, but it was a couple of seconds behind. It might have been 20 or 30 seconds. Yeah. And it popped up on their phone on their flash scores, saying that they had scored a goal. So they obviously took the phone out and started video, and then when it came to the goal, they went mad.
It's the height of wholesomeness. It's absolutely amazing to see your dad's your dad, by the way, is a very young man. How old is your dad?
42.
Yeah, I was there like, this man is like basically my age when looking at him, because when it said like Barry Baggley's dad's reaction, I went, that's clearly the man's brother. Where's his dad? Yeah. So you can tell him I said that.
He's young, yeah. I don't be telling him that. He'll be buzzing.
So you're in Fleetwood and that's all good, but talk to me about coming over here, because obviously, look, this is the Waterford FC podcast, and we want to know about your journey coming here. So obviously, look, we're all within a sister club, I suppose is the best way of putting it. When does it get floated to you first that you might be coming here?
So I was just coming back from an injury at the time at Fleetwood. I started off the pre-season really well, and just before the season was starting, I picked up an injury, so I was out for a couple of months, and then I came back. I was getting game time and stuff, and I was doing well with the reserve team, the under-23s, and I knew myself, like, I needed to get out and play men's football. Yeah. So one day the staff brought me up to the office and said to me about coming here on loan, and I thought it would have been a good move for me just to get out and get some game time and stuff. Yeah.
And obviously we are in the first division at the time. Was Keith the manager yet when you came?
He wasn't. It was Danny Shearer.
I was going to say, was Danny still here? Yeah. So what were your first impressions coming here?
I was surprised actually
at the good facilities.
How well the setup was, and I didn't really expect it to be as good as it was. Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. I mean, like, look, if you're over, how long were you over in Fleetwood at that point?
5 years.
I was going to say it must have been 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So like, you're over in England, you're playing in the old third division if you're that old, or the old second division if you're my age, and like, obviously that's a very good level. Like, you're playing, as we just said, in the Reebok Stadium, big crowds, and you hear me, and look, it is all relative. Maybe you hear, I'm going to play League of Ireland First Division, but then you come here and we have this beautiful facility, the RSC, the SETU Arena, the store here, everything. Yeah. You were obviously impressed.
I was really impressed actually, yeah. Some setup, to be fair,
like I'd argue, and I think anyone would, that the setup here is as good as anything in the country.
Oh yeah, especially from what I've seen anyway. Like, it's better than anything up north anyway. 100%.
And what was your relationship like with Danny, with the old manager?
It was good, yeah. I had a really good relationship with him. I've obviously cut a bit short, but the time he was here, I did enjoy working under him too.
Was there? I'll get to the really good thing that happened at the end of last season. But was there ever a bit of a panic at any point that, like, maybe we're going to be stuck here in the first division?
I wouldn't say it was a panic. It was probably just more frustration that we
Yeah.
kind of let go away, get so far ahead.
Yeah.
Like early on in the season, and then we were just chasing on. But we knew that on our day we could beat any team, so we weren't really panicking if we had to get to the playoffs.
Yeah. So talk to me about Keith Long's arrival. What's your relationship like with Keith?
Oh, it's brilliant. Get on really well with him. Yeah. He's someone I really enjoy working under. He's a good coach. He's a really good manager. He knows how to get the best out of players.
Yeah, I obviously get the impression you have a great relationship. He made you his captain this year. How does that conversation happen?
So basically, when I came back from, on loan again for the second time,
Yep.
we were playing a couple of games in pre-season, and I was doing okay, and I was being captain in them games, but I didn't really think too much of us, obviously, because it's only pre-season and stuff. And then a week before the season started, he just pulled me in and said, "Look, I want to make you the captain this season," and I was delighted.
Okay. Well, I want to know about coming back for the second season, but really should talk about promotion. What a night that was.
Oh, unbelievable night, like something I'll never forget.
Like, I'm not taking away from, listen, obviously people want to win the league. It's great. And look, a few years ago under Alan Reynolds, we were all there, lifted the trophy and all that, but there must be something extra sweet about going through a playoff like that and winning the final, essentially.
Yeah, that's actually what we were talking about just before the playoffs. We were saying if we go up through the playoffs, it's probably a better feeling than actually winning the league, because you've went through all that hard work to get to where it is. And
I'm glad you agree with me, because I felt a little bit silly saying it, because people are probably saying like, well, it's winning the league, but like that playoff and the playoff itself, getting out of the Division 1 part and then having to play the almost relegated Premier, like it's serious pressure.
Oh, it's so tough. The playoff and the first division's so tough. You can see why not many teams go up through the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because the odds are stacked against you.
Well, you've got to play 5 games to get up after battling to finish second in the first place.
Exactly, and then you're coming up against a team who came second bottom in the league above and haven't played a game for a week or two, and they're a lot more fresh than you.
So look, I wasn't there on the night, right? I was going to New York the next day to get engaged, and obviously I was feeling a certain anxiety around that, but also around the fact that I had to watch it on TV, right? But like I could feel, maybe it was just me, but you could feel the feeling of it all. Was it like that on the night?
But like the tension,
like just like the tension, the expectation, the excitement.
It was the build up. The thing for me is the build up before games is like the most exciting and kind of nervous bit. But when you're actually on the pitch, like I just feel comfortable. Don't know what it is. Yeah, It just everything just goes away, and you're just kind of in the zone then.
And my other question we've kind of covered already, but like that feeling when the whistle blows, like it's probably indescribable, isn't it?
It's indescribable, yeah. Especially we went from an extra time, and then we played another extra time in the playoff final, in the space of a week.
Yeah.
And a lot of boys were tired. Like I had to come off myself with cramp.
Yeah.
And being off the pitch was actually the worst part because you're looking on just thinking like, oh, please get over the line.
And even that semi-final, just such a dramatic time. But the late winner from the header and all that kind of stuff, it almost felt like it was all meant to be.
It was meant to be then, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit emotional now talking about it. I'm an old romantic when it comes to football.
Yeah.
So look, absolute joy of winning the playoffs, and like us as supporters, we really don't know what's going to happen the next year. It's kind of the nature of the beast and stuff like that. Like, did you feel a little bit like that as well? Like your loan was finished up, you're going back to your parent club, which also happens to be the sister club of this club. Were you a little bit like up in the air?
Yeah, everything. It was a lot of change for me at that stage, because obviously I went back to Fleetwood, and there was a managerial change there while I was there, so everything was kind of changing for me at that stage, and I didn't really know what was going to happen. But it came to January again, and they said, "Oh, do you want to go back for another year to play in the Premier Division?" So I said, "Yeah."
And did you speak to Charlie Adam himself over there?
I spoke to him, yeah.
Yeah.
He only came in a few weeks, just maybe a week or two before I came here, so didn't have too long with him. But from what I worked with him, he was a good coach.
He had great things to say. We had him in the hospitality lounge a few weeks ago, and he did have great things to say about yourself and a lot of the other lads. But what's the difference? And did you see a difference, I suppose, in step up then when you start playing Premier Division football?
Yeah, it was massive step up. Every game is like really intense. Every game's tough. Like there's no easy games at all. I know we've probably won a couple of results, by a decent scoreline, but
yeah,
it wasn't like last year where you're winning 4-0 and the whole game is comfortable. Like
exactly.
At any stage of the game, something can change. You know what I mean? You have to be on your toes at all time.
And what about representing your country then?
Yeah, I love doing that as well. Yeah, just getting the experience of playing international football against some of the best players at your age in Europe. That's a great experience too. Like,
I suppose it is the ultimate honour. I suppose, is it, as a footballer?
it is. Yeah, it's the pinnacle of the game, playing international football. You're playing against the best players from every player in every country, so it's a good experience.
Is there anything that stands out to you from being in the international squad, or any particular games or stuff that's stood out?
Loads of games. Like we've played some massive countries, and we've recently just played England under 21s, and you're coming up against the likes of Harvey Elliott and Bramthwaite, Quansah, all them lads, and it's class, like, playing against them.
What's the
be able to test yourself then?
Yeah, like, and especially like when, like, it's easy for me, and I suppose even the listener and the viewer. Like, you've named out Premier League footballers that we're watching every week. Do you notice the level they're at, or what's that like?
Yeah, you know, when you're on the pitch, you notice it big time. It's just like every pass and every touch is just perfect. You can't get near them. You know what I mean? Move the ball so quickly where you don't even get time to close them down. Like,
yeah, there was a famous video went around just at the start of the season just gone, where I think the guy for Aston Villa, he came from Leicester, Tielemans, is wearing a body cam in a Premier League friendly. And you can watch the pace of the game through the ball, and it's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's so quick. Imagine what the Premier League, like,
yeah,
it must be mad.
Unbelievable. I'm really interested in what it's been like for you now, because I've heard you saying that you've been at all the games, I think, home and away, that you've been injured. Has it been frustrating watching, because the lads are doing really, really well? Yeah. Has it been frustrating? Is it kind of a mixed emotion? What does it feel like?
Mixed emotion, yeah. It's obviously frustrating not being able to be a part of it whenever, you know, they are doing so well. You feel like you kind of just feel it, like you just want to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'm so happy that they're doing what they're doing. They're doing really well, to be fair to them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's and one thing I get as well, and you know, anytime any of the lads are over in the hospitality lounge, whether it be before the game, half time, or even at the man of the match thing that we do, the one thing that keeps being said from anyone is the harmony in the squad, or the feeling in the squad. Is that something that you're in tune with as well, obviously, as the club captain?
Yeah, everyone's so like close together in the squad. There's no one, like, sometimes when you go into teams, there's usually like some groups that just stick together and stuff, but here, like, everyone, like, it's something small, but every day at lunch you're sitting with new people. Do you know what I mean? And you're talking to new people, and you're not just with the same group every day. Is
that something that comes from Keith, or is it something that's just made its way through the squad?
Bit of both, I think. Yeah, well, I think he's implemented it when he first came in. He tried to get everyone to you know, change who they were speaking to every day, but as time goes on, everyone just kind of does it themselves.
You socialise a bit together and stuff, the players?
Yeah, we all socialise, yeah.
Go on a holiday together, maybe?
Yeah, we're going in a few days, yeah.
That's maybe an off-mic conversation. That's not a problem. Any time frame? We're thinking maybe 3 weeks or so into the...
Yeah.
Right, saying that?
3 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks.
You're getting the scan in July?
Yeah. It started July, yeah. So after that, it'll probably take me 2 weeks to maybe get back to fitness. Like.
Does that happen back in the UK, back in Fleetwood?
I think I'm just going to get it here.
Oh, right, okay. So that's even better.
Yeah, it saves me from having to go back there. So.
Well, look, I don't want to harp on about injury talk and all that. I want to ask you something that we kind of maybe got at before we press record. I asked Keith Long a question here, and because he's the head coach of the football club, I'd like to know what the club captain says as well. If you had to invite 4 people to dinner, who would they be?
1, Stevie G, obviously.
Okay, lovely.
Probably say McGregor.
Really?
Yeah.
Like McGregor.
He's just great crack, isn't he?
I'll be honest, I wouldn't be a huge fan.
Yeah.
But I think he has his funny moments.
Yeah. He just him and Gerrard to have a bit of crack.
That might be good as well. I think if McGregor could make up his mind about who he supports, because he's a Man United fan one week, he's a Liverpool fan another week.
Yeah.
But anyway, I accept why you would want him there.
And then I'll probably go for an actor. I'll say Mark Wahlberg.
Excellent. You enjoy his films,
Yeah,
or
I love his films, and he just seems like a good guy.
what would be your favourite Mark Wahlberg movie?
Don't know, I like Ted and stuff.
Ted. The other guys.
I
Have you seen that one?
the best film he has is Shooter.
Shooter.
That's my favourite one.
Have you ever seen Boogie Nights?
Never seen
It's
that
a
one.
real early one he did, where he plays a porn star in America in the 70s.
Yeah.
Excellent film.
Good,
One to watch on the plane.
Yeah.
Or maybe on the plane back when you're recovering.
And then
That's
the last one, I don't know, I'd probably say, who would I go for? Someone like Mike Tyson or something.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely brilliant. Are you miffed that his fight with one of these YouTube guys is called off?
I don't know why they were fighting in the first place.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been something I
Yeah.
would have ever watched.
Nah.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's mad.
Barry, listen, I think we have a huge insight into you there. Look, I think I speak for everybody, and I'm sure you get it in your DMs and your messages and stuff like that when I say we can't wait to have you back on the pitch. Delighted to have you here and delighted to chat to you.
Cheers, thanks very much.
Thanks, Barry.
No worries.